Great. Can you tell that I'm having a little bit of internet issues today?
You're fine, my friend,
Oh
man.
man, I've got a heck of a lag. I have a heck of a lag. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. If we're coming in or if I'm coming in, all right, give me a number one. I'm sure that Gray is coming in all right. What's up, Gray? How you doing, brother?
Living la vida loca.
Look, all right, man. Sounds
Yeah, I'm looking
good.
at you
Oh,
on the
look at that.
big
We're getting
screen.
number ones. All right. Thank you, Ali, Lisa. Grit and Grace, how are you doing tonight? Tony DG, CT Prepper. Everyone's in the house today. Miss Worm, Copernicus, how you doing? Denise Wards, Keisha Wagner, Jane, Cindy, Douglas, Justin Winch, 4x5, sound is good. A little bit of a blur. I have a feeling I'm going to have bad connection tonight on my side. For some reason or another, it's just not a good day for the internet here. So there's Jan. How you doing, Jan? Good to see you. Yarn Prepper. Let's see. I think I saw JT earlier on today. There's JT. How you doing? Good to see you, ladies. All right. So what you got going on, Gray? What's happening, man? How was your weekend?
I
Are
can't
you rich
complain. It
now
was a
that
decent
gold is
weekend.
above $2,100 an ounce? Can you believe that, Gray? 1 ounce of a
No,
metal. I don't have a gold ounce here, but this is 1 ounce. This is the one that JT gave me for Christmas. And this is 1 ounce, but make believe this is a 1 ounce coin. A little thing like that has that much energy in it that it's valued in excess of $2,100. Incredible, isn't it?
that's insane, man. I'm gonna have to get on JT's good side.
Let's see.
Gray
All
can
right.
take over, but it would not
All
be the
right, take
same
it away,
without you.
brother. What do we got going on today? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, we got a few things to talk about. You know what I mean? And kind of like I said, one of the things like I kind of what you're talking about is in the news is, I mean, crypto's going crazy, gold's going crazy, precious metals, and there's probably a good reason why. Something is right around the corner. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but March 11th, 2024. So today is what, the 4th.
Hmm.
So there'll be no more money to loan out, and the Fed will pick and choose who gets the loans, who gets to loan out money. So it's going to be pretty interesting. This new thing that's going to be happening happens to do with the congressional, when Congress passed the Dodd and Frank Wall Street bill or Reform Act or whatnot. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about here this March 11th. Uh can you go over that a little bit? Does it have to do
Yeah.
with the reverse repo or it
So
has to do with the reverse repo. Okay.
correct. Yes.
There's going to be a lot more inflation coming down the line.
Well,
Oh man, I've been saying inflation has only got one way to go. Gray, which way is that?
up, up, and
That's
away.
right. It's only got one way to go. I wish that people could understand this. If they understood this, they would be more serious. I'm talking in general. Obviously, our viewers are usually a little bit ahead of the average person out there that's still asleep and walking with rose-colored glasses on. One of my favorite phrases. And that is
Absolutely.
that in order for this financial system by which we are governed, because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, it is this financial system that allows government to have control over us. That's all it is. It's the financial system. So as long for this system to continue, being that it is a debt-based monetary system, the debt has to continue to grow. Meaning what? That there always has to be inflation. We are always going to add to our debt. There is always going to be inflation, meaning added money that never existed, that was never earned into existence, but instead printed out of thin air, as we like to say, and then put into the system, which is what causes the symptom of prices to go up. Prices going up is not inflation. Inflation is when money is added to the system that really never was earned into existence. And until people understand that in general, as a collective, we are going to continue to be enslaved to this same system that's been around for, I want to say, completely since 1971 or so. It's really been around longer than that, but we can say since 1971, because August 14th of 1971 is when President Nixon took us off of the remnant of what we had of a gold standard, which wasn't even a full gold standard, just a partial gold standard. So it's never going to stop. Your wealth will continually be stripped from you without your permission, and the price of things will continually rise as opposed to your wages, meaning that your wages will never over time keep up with the price of things going up.
I saw something in the chat that someone, where was it at? I think I paused it. Where was it at? Hopefully, yeah, Dirtman says, it's been the apocalypse since we've been corralled into working a job rather than a ranch. I kind of agree there with that, man, that statement.
Yeah, it's an open air prison. That's what it is. You know, I know I'm going to mess up this quote. I'm going to paraphrase it, obviously, but someone somewhere said that the best way to enslave a people is to make the people believe that they are free. And, you know, I believe that this country, the United States of America, is the freest country in the world. And this is why, because we have this beautiful document that was developed by our founding fathers that is meant to keep us free. However, unless we exercise our freedoms and liberties, then we are not free. And when we let representatives that are supposed to represent us, their constituents, when we let them get away with the things that they've gotten away with for the last 100 years or so, then they will strip from us our freedoms. But what still makes us, in my opinion, the freest nation in the world, with as many things as we're going through right now, is that we have the document and the rule of law that we can always fall back to in order to regain those liberties that we've allowed the bureaucrats in Washington to strip from us. So we still have that document. We still have the rule of law. It's just, do we, the people, and do our representatives have the will to follow that document that made this country the best country in the world, in history? So that's the question, Gray.
I'm looking here. I wanted to see something. All right, that's good. All right. How many of you people have heard of the 2010 Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act? Because in that act, it says basically the banks can confiscate your assets, which is your money and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter though. You know, the government can do whatever it wants to do. They can do whatever it wants to do whenever it wants to do. Look at it. Look at 1933. 1933 wasn't even a law. It was an executive order that FDR passed to confiscate. I hate using the word confiscate because it wasn't a confiscation, but it was a confiscation by threat, right? He threatened the people. Hey, you're going to get a $10,000 fine, or you're going to spend up to, I think it was up to 5 years in jail if you don't turn in your gold. And he allowed, listen to this, he allowed the American people to keep no more than 5 ounces of gold per family, right? So the people were able to keep some of their gold, but he allowed them to keep some of the gold. And not only that, but we always forget about what happened during World War II. I believe it was still under FDR, where we had Japanese Americans corralled and pretty much held prisoners until the war was over, even though they were citizens of the United States and or legal residents of the United States. So, like I said, we all get what we allow our governments to get away with. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, government is not there for you. Government is there for one reason, and that is for government. If government's not getting bigger, if government's not getting stronger, then those people that work in government are failing at their jobs.
Good point. It's a scary fact to think about that. Basically, the reason I was talking about that and brought that up is because, you know, you've talked about it. I may have mentioned it, but I know you focused in on the banking crisis that's possibly, you know, right around the corner. And I thought that I wanted to share this clip that I found on Tucker Carlson's media with you and get your thoughts on it. And it's Vladimir Putin speaking on the U.S. dollar. You want to watch that? It's like 45 seconds, I think it's long.
Oh, hey, let me address this really quick. 11 infantry follow us, and we the cowards will do nothing. No, you know what, brother? Thanks for being here, by the way. But we will do something. Eventually, we will, and I'm going to stand by what I've always said. You see, when we look back to 1776, we look back at these men back then that were hardy men, that were not cowards, that fought back, and that made this country, right? Because in 1776, the United States of America didn't exist. They made this country, right? The shot heard around the world is what started everything. But the thing is that for years before that, do you think that just in one day, 1776, whatever that day was, you think it was one day that went from being okay to be here in the United States, as it was colonies back then, to where it was unbearable? No, it took years. It took years and years and years of these people, the colonists living back there, to have to live with all of the abuse that they were being abused with, taxes, all the stupid laws that they came up with, et cetera, right? It took years. And then one day came where they said, we can't take it anymore. We cannot live like this anymore. It took a certain amount of suffering. Just like I've often said, we still have a lot of suffering to go. I'm not saying that we're cowards. It's just human nature, right? It's just human nature. So it's going to take a lot of suffering before we change the system by which we are governed. The sad thing is that the system really doesn't need to be changed if it's left the way that our founders put it in place. It's the system that the politicians that have been voted into office have developed for themselves. Take, for example, the system of money. We had a perfect system of money before the politicians destroyed it and made it into their money, fiat currency. But we had God's money, gold and silver, which was meant to be a fair system of trade, trading value for value. And then what happened? Well, the politicians came in there and said, hey, you know what? We can get extremely rich if we do this. Yeah, the people will never know what inflation is until the dollar collapses, but we'll be wealthy beyond belief if we do this. And they did that. So I don't think that it's that we have a country of cowards. I think it's that history will once again repeat itself, and we will have another 1776 moment. It just takes time. I do believe that this frog, i.e. the United States of America, will jump out of the water before it's boiling, but we're just not quite there yet. Sorry about that, Gray.
No, you're fine. I was thinking about that. I try to, since I have a young daughter, 15 and whatnot, and I listen to some of the conversations that she has with friends and stuff like that, and things that she says that happens at school. And sometimes I'm happy to hear some of the stuff I'm hearing. For some reason, these kids are getting into politics at a really young age, and just having conversations. And so I found that interesting. And the conversations are not what I would thought they were, at least in her friend group per se, right? I've been very surprised at how they dislike the current administration, and they're hoping for change because they see that their parents are struggling with inflation, cost of living, and everything else that's going on. And they're just seems to be having some of those conversations. So I thought that was just something I wanted to mention and throw in there. That I had pretty much given up on Gen Z at this point, but I guess there's a shred of hope.
Yeah. Hey, so Gray, get back to what is it that's going to happen on March 11th with, I'm assuming that you're talking about the banking system.
Yes, let me pull that back up. Sorry, I had something else pulled up already. I try to keep myself somewhat organized. Where's Rudy at?
That's why this live stream works so well with you and I, because we're opposites. That's where you're organized. I mean, look at your background, Gray. Look at your background. Man, I see nice, organized. I bet you dust it every weekend or something like that. Look at my background. It's just everything's thrown all over the place.
I have OCD, brother.
All right.
Basically, it's just a quote from in regards to the banking system. It says, effective March 11th, 2024, there will be no more money to loan out, and the Fed will pick and choose who gets to loan out money. So they're going to be basically they're trying to cap it, and only specific banks will actually have money, and they'll get to pick and choose. And of course, the banks are going to be more reserved, and so on and so forth, starting March 11th. Basically, the well is drying up.
I know what you're talking about. No, well, I know what you're talking about. What you're talking about is that prior to this health crisis, right?
Mm-hmm.
The banks always had to keep a certain percentage of their deposits in reserve.
Right.
So I'm going to pick some really easy numbers to work with as to try to not confuse anyone. Everyone thinks it's 10%, but it's not. Depending on how big of a bank you are, depends on the percentage you have to keep in reserves. So it could be 3%, it could be 10%, whatever. But the banks had to keep so much money in reserves in comparison to how much deposits they had. Well, they shut that to zero. A lot of people don't know that I think about 2.5 years ago, that turned to zero, meaning that the banks could loan out all the money they wanted. Every time that you take a loan from a bank, what's happening is as soon as the bank manager signs that check and obligates that loan, that money that you borrowed, let's say $100,000, was just created out of thin air. It wasn't because someone else had deposits there. It's because they just created that money out of thin air. People think that the Federal Reserve is the entity that creates most of the inflation in this country, but it's not. It's your credit card holders. It's the people that swipe a credit card. It's people that go get a car loan, that get a house loan. All of that money never existed until you spent it, until it was obligated into existence without it really being worked into existence. Okay, so it gave them free reign to give as many loans as they wanted, to charge all these fees, etc. Why do you think banks keep making so much money? Well, in March 11th, I believe this is what's going on. They're going to have those reserves again. And with those reserves intact, they're going to have to bring in money to have those reserves because they don't have it. The bank does not have what you think is called money, what we call money. They don't have that. All right. They're going to have to bring that in and build that up before they can loan money. Well, the Federal Reserve can fund those loans. And guess what the Federal Reserve is going to do? What you just said, Gray. They're going to be able to pick and choose which banks can do what. Does that sound like a free market to you? Absolutely not. We haven't had a free market in this country ever since, I would say, FDR. We haven't had a free market. And the reason I say FDR is because he's the one that stripped the wealth from the American people so that he can turn that wealth and multiply it into fiat. He took the people's real money and then he used it to bail out the Federal Reserve. And then the Federal Reserve took that real money that it got bailed out with and multiplied it. All right. And then when the Federal Reserve multiplied that money, because FDR increased the price of gold after he confiscated it, right, and gave the gold to the Federal Reserve to bail them out because they were driving dirty, right? They had fiat currency out there with zero backing when it was supposed to be 40% backing. Okay, so he gave it to the Federal Reserve. He shut down the treasury notes that were all over the country that were being used as money, which they were true money, i.e. currency backed by real gold. He shut those down, collecting them back in. And then he told the Federal Reserve, hey, let me go ahead and revalue gold at $35 an ounce from $20.67. And that will effectively increase the inflation by about 60%. So then he took that extra inflation that he created, about 60% of what was brought in. And you know what he used that money for, Gray?
What?
For the New Deal. So he stole the people's money. He made them poorer. And then he used the money that he stole from them to put them to work. And the people were like, yes, thank you. FDR is the best president that ever lived. He really cared about the people, and he had a wheelchair. Wasn't he a champion? Ladies and gentlemen, FDR, along with Woodrow Wilson, in my opinion, are some of the biggest traitors to this nation that have ever existed. People just don't want to believe it because it's not what they were taught.
No, I would agree, brother. It's
Anyways, I digress.
People, history is not, you know, people, some people just, they forget little tidbits like that, how we got where we're at today. And it's our history. If we dig back to certain presidents and stuff like that, any bank that goes under will keep your money to pay off debt. Investors. Yeah. That's absolutely right.
Wow.
Real quick, Rudy, before we move into the clip and some further information, I wanted to let everybody know, and if you don't mind, in regards to a promotion that I have going on with Nutrient Survival, in regards to a giveaway that I'm doing on, it'll be you and me next week on my channel, and I'm going to be drawing that giveaway next week. It's going to be for a Gray Man bucket. Some people may not know what it is. And the way to enter this giveaway is by watching that video and leaving a comment in that video, and it kind of gives you the explanation in that video. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to do anything. You just got to watch the video and do all that, you know, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff like that. If you go to my channel, it's the last video that I did. I wanted to let it run for a couple of weeks, but next Monday when me and Rudy are on my channel, I'm going to pick something. I'm going to pick a winner from that video. So you have to leave something on that video, be it negative, positive. I don't care anymore. It is what it is. But if you want to support the channel, just watch the video and stuff like that. But you leave a comment in that video, and you'll be entered to win. And we'll be drawing the winner live next week on the live stream, which is on my channel next week. So I just wanted to throw that out there for some folks, because notifications fail to work sometimes. I put it in the community tab. I've shared it on Instagram and everywhere else. Even Yarn Preppers helped me share it. But I'm trying to get everybody out there to know that you can win a Gray Man bucket with my Nutrient Survival. You get the patch, you get some food. So for your preps, why not give it a shot, you know? So thanks for, I didn't even know you put me on the big screen, Rudy. Did he disappear on me? Okay.
No, I'm right here, man.
On me, man. I wasn't even looking at the screen. I was making sure I had everything I wanted to
concentrate on what you're saying. Hey, this is a giveaway, man. People can have a chance to get what is that, about close to $300 worth of merchandise?
Yeah, it's $270 plus tax. So yeah, once you add that in there, it's going to be right around there.
Go over there and see if you can win that, man. That's awesome. That's one of the things that I really like about having partners. You know, Nutrient Survival, like Hybrid Lights, and this is that they give us stuff so we can give away. But I think you're giving this away, aren't you?
I'm paying for it out of my own pocket, man. Me and Eric gave it one when we first started this out, and Eric gave one of the buckets live on the stream that I did with Eric. And I decided, you know what? I want to give one away. I'm going to flip the bill for it and give it away to my viewers. And I've gotten a positive reception from that video. I only got 2 negative comments on that video so far. And there's, I don't know, I forget how many comments are on there, but
that's it.
I only got one. One person said they felt misled. They said, by my title and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, if you look at the thumbnail, there's Nutrient Survival on that thumbnail. And I don't know how you got misled. I basically, in that video, I tell a story.
Let it go, man.
I know.
It just doesn't make any. You can donate. You can donate your heart to someone who needs a heart, and someone's going to have something bad to say. So
I agree.
Just swipe. What is it? Swipe left or something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that, man. I got to stop reading all the comments, but I'm just that guy that goes through every single one. But it is what it is, folks. But if you want to win some Nutrient Survival food and a really cool Gray Man patch, I wish I had one sitting here, but in the video, I do an up close thing on there. And if you follow me on Instagram and any other social media, it should be there. But I appreciate your guys' support on that. And it gives you an opportunity to win some freeze-dried food, man. Outside of that, do you want to move into
and not only that, Gray, you forgot the most important thing. Hey, I have to break in. You forgot the most important thing. Is not only do you have a chance to win some freeze-dried food, but you have a chance to win some of the best, if not the best, freeze-dried. Listen, when I say this, it's not because I've rehearsed this. It's because I've said it 1,000 times, because I mean it. Nutrient Survival is the best freeze-dried food in the market. It tastes good, and it has all the nutrients that you need. And when you eat it, it makes you feel good because it has all the nutrients you need. Now, if you're going to survive the end of the world, ladies and gentlemen, don't you want to survive it feeling good? I just made that up. But no, in all honesty, it's the best stuff that's out there.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was talking, I'm talking about a hurricane and stuff like that, the things that I've gone through in my life. And someone said, well, that's not survival food. because you gotta have water and stuff like that and heat. And I thought to myself, personally, I love warm food. I rather have warm food. And if you are a prepper and don't have 16 ways to heat water, then something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? In a emergency situation.
Oh, that's funny.
There's like
That's funny because I was thinking about I just did a go ahead.
I don't want to sit there and eat, Nutri-Grain bars or SOS bars. I want to have some warm, tasty, nutritious food. You know what I'm saying?
I want some real food, right? Real. I
Absolutely. I want
I don't
be
think
as
I've
normal as
released this
possible.
video yet. Yeah. Hey, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, let me say something real quick so that you don't get annoyed. I'm having connectivity issues, so my internet has a bit of a lag on it. So if you hear me talking and then Gray starts talking and stuff, it's because the lag, it's a bit of a lag. So it's kind of making it a little bit difficult for me to know when Gray stopped talking. And well, I usually never stop talking, but Gray's been, chiming in once in a while. So that's why that's happening. For some reason today, the internet coverage is not great out here. But Gray, I did a video today, and I think it's uploading as we speak. It'll probably be out later on tonight or tomorrow. But on that video, I said something like, my wife told me that if there is a real SHTF, that we are going to be the only fat bodies in our block. And then I said, no worries, and when I said no worries, most people would think no worries because after a month or so, we'll be really thinned down, because we have to ration and preserve what we have. But that's not what I said. I said, don't worry. We'll just go and get clothes that's 4 or 5 times bigger so that we can look smaller.
That's a good point, though. That's a great gray man tactic, man. That's a good point. But yeah.
All right. So someone wants to know. Well, you know what? Great. Take it away, man. Take it away. No. Listen, look. Gone. No, it's gone.
No, I'm pretty much done. There's your alarm, brother. I have to connect to these as well.
Well, I mean, you have something here that you wanted to share.
Oh, yeah. Let's. So I wanted you to share this clip because I thought it was interesting listening to someone who truly, I'm assuming, I don't know if he hates the West or specifically America. A lot of people don't like him, but what he says in this little clip of this interview part with Tucker was very, I wanted it, specifically what he says towards the end. So if you want to bring it up and run that clip, we'll be quiet for a second.
All right. Well, just to let everyone know, I have no idea what this is. This is part of what we do. So let's go ahead and throw it on.
$33 trillion tell us about. As soon as the political leadership decided to use the US dollar as a tool of political struggle, a blow was dealt to this American power. I would not like to use any strong language, but it is a stupid thing to do and a grave mistake. Look at what is going on in the world. Even the United States allies are now downsizing their dollar reserves. Seeing this, everyone starts looking for ways to protect themselves. But the fact that the United States applies restrictive measures to certain countries, such as placing restrictions on transactions, freezing assets, etc., causes grave concern and sends a signal to the whole world. Do you even realize what is going on or not? Does anyone in the United States realize this? What are you doing? You are cutting yourself off.
Oh, man, this internet thing stinks. Yeah, man. I mean,
it's crazy.
Some people get triggered. Some people get triggered when you, as an American, or me or any American, agrees with a figure that the government and the mainstream media for years have been telling us to hate, right? So when I tell you that I agree with what Mr. Putin said, it's not because I have any love for the guy. I don't have any love for any politician, right? So, but it's because it's true. The United States has the world reserve currency, and with what is it that they say in Spider-Man? With great power, you have great responsibility, something like that.
Yes.
The United States of America has the world reserve currency, which is a lot of power. It's a lot of power to have the world reserve currency. Just take a look at what it's allowed our government to do. It's allowed our government to put over 800 military bases all around the world. Think about that. What other nation has the funds to put 800 military bases all around the world? I believe that our defense budget, I read this somewhere, I could be wrong, but I believe that our defense budget is equal to the defense budget of like the 10 next countries. So you take the 10 next countries with the highest defense budgets, and that equals what we spend on defense. That's been because we have the world reserve currency. And we took that world reserve currency and turned it into a fiat currency, which allows us to turn on the printing press whenever we have a shortfall in our budget. All right. And now that we've had that responsibility to uphold the Federal Reserve note as the world reserve currency, what did we do with it? We went ahead and weaponized it. We went ahead and said, hey, listen, country A, B, or C, if you don't like, if we don't like what you're doing, we're just going to go ahead and shut you off. Russia, we don't like what you did for whatever reason it is. It doesn't matter what the reason is. We don't like what you did. So we're going to go ahead and confiscate the $270 billion that you have in the Reserve Bank. We're going to go ahead and take that from you just because we can, not because we gave you due process and a court and an international court decided that this should be done. No, but because we want to. And that's exactly what he's saying in that clip. He's saying that because of these actions that the U.S. has taken, not only with Russia, but with Venezuela, with Libya, with Iraq can't even spend their own money that they earn off of their oil sales without checking with the United States first. So Iraq, we went over there and liberated Iraq, right? We bombed them into freedom, okay? And now that they're free, they can't even, as a nation, spend their oil money the way that they want to. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So the United States has weaponized the dollar. Now countries are waking up. And what countries are doing is what we, the American people, and the people of a lot of other nations should be doing. And that is this: getting together and understanding that we together have the power. So all of these BRICS nations and BRICS alliance, what they're doing is saying, hey, let's get together as a big block of nations and let's go ahead and trade amongst each other. And then let's go ahead and bypass using the Federal Reserve note, i.e. the US dollar, because we don't need to use them anymore. And if we stick together, then there's nothing that they can really do to us. And they're figuring that out. And they are in the process of dethroning the Federal Reserve note as maybe not as the world reserve currency, because a name is just a name, but as a currency that is no longer used by said nations, which, by the way, equal to about 70% of the world population. So what gives the dollar strength is that countries and people believe that it's going to get them something that they want later on down the road. But when countries start abandoning using the dollar, they will hold less reserves, making the dollar worth less. And it will be we, the people of these United States, and people that rely on the dollar, that will suffer the consequences, i.e. via inflation, massive inflation. And what does that mean, massive inflation? It means that your standard of living will be reduced. I would guess to about half, if not 3/4 of what it is today. That's why I always advocate that you should protect yourself, not only with preps. I'm not a financial advisor, but with something that's always stood the test of time, with gold and silver. And if you like Bitcoin, go for it.
Yeah, I did pretty good this week with the whole crypto stuff.
That's awesome, man. I don't even know how good I did. We were talking, Gray and I, before this. I don't even know how good I did. I've already used a lot of the crypto that I had in the past, the last bull cycle, to do some of the stuff that I wanted to do. I kept some, and I told Gray, I said, I will never cash those in. Those will stay in my hardware wallet forever. And one day I will pass them down to my grandkids, to my kids, if they're still a thing. If they're not, that's okay. I'm 100% in on house money. Everything else has been taken out of there a long time ago. So good for you, man. That's awesome. Remember, don't be a pig. Don't be greedy. Take some profits. There's nothing wrong with taking some profits.
All I do is when I see when I see that I can take this or that, all I do is just put it back into preps, brother. Honestly, it's food, water, medicines, ways to protect myself. It all goes back into some category in that realm of things, because it's like you said, the fiat currencies, when this thing comes to a head, it's worthless at that point, so might as well have the things that are important to you in life. I was wondering if you saw this. This happened in Brooklyn, New York, I think last week. And I was going to do a video on this, but I don't really do too many news videos most of the time. But I figure since we're here, I wanted, and I muted it just because it's a bunch of garbage. But I put it down there where you can click on it. But this was in Brooklyn, New York. These people marching, and I wanted to ask your opinion if you think these people know what they're doing. And what communism actually truly is. I'll go ahead and hit play on that. Let me move my mouse over here. But this was in Brooklyn, New York, man.
Okay, cool.
And they're just preaching. They're marching, saying that we need to get rid of, basically we need a communist revolution. That needs to be the new government per se in the United States. And like I said, this is in the heart of Brooklyn, New York, a place I would never thought that this would even happen. But these people are just happy, all different walks of life. I don't even know if they know exactly what they're talking about, but they have the sickle there, Russia's, part of Russia's flag and whatnot. But anyways, just wanted to share that real quick with you and get your thoughts on that. It's just going to cycle through. Yeah.
This may offend some people, but useful idiots. These are useful idiots. If they, what the funny thing is that communist countries rarely allow their citizens to exit their country.
Exactly.
And they live in a country. Yeah, they live in a country where they can pretty much travel freely. Why don't they exit this country and go live in a communist country?
Absolutely.
And then we'll see what happens. Why don't they go actually live there? Not be a tourist. Go live there and see how it is. I don't want to go and live in a communist country, and they're useful idiots. And unfortunately, what they don't understand is that once communism takes over, useful idiots are the first ones that government gets rid of. All right. I think we talked about this last time. What was it? I kept calling them brown jackets or something like that. Brown shirts. Brown shirts during World War II or during Germany. Brown shirts, right? Those were the first people that they got rid of. Once they took over, once they took over that government, the little guy with the mustache, those were the first people that they got rid of, the useful idiots. And I hope for our sake as a nation and our children's sake that we don't see that happen here. You see, because the next, I would say 8 to 10 years is going to be very, very decisive as to what kind of a nation we turn into. I believe that in the next 8 or so years, we will know what kind of a nation we're going to land on. And I'm hoping that I'm proven right and in saying and having been saying for a while now that good always prevails over evil, because it would be terrible. Just ask anyone who's come here from a communist nation and ask them what they prefer. And it's funny that most of the people that you see marching in that video, most of those people don't look like people that immigrated to the United States anytime soon, right?
No, not at all.
Go ask a person who escaped North Korea what they think about communism. Go ask, someone from the CCP that's been under that rule for their lifetime, and then have them come and live here for a year and ask them what they think about that. Ask Billy and D, or mainly Billy from Frontier Preppers, who lived under communism for the first 16 years of his life. Ask him what he prefers. Does he prefer communism, or does he prefer what we have here in the United States, freedom? None of these kids know what communism is like. They are being funded by oligarchs like George Soros. They are being funded by NGOs that want the United States of America to fail, right? That's all there's to it. It's called a color revolution. And right now, in my opinion, we're in the middle of one. It's unprecedented in the history of this nation, even more so than what we were going through in the early 60s, as far as all of the protests and things that we were going through back then. And the thing is, Gray, is that one thing that these crazies are good at is they're really good at shouting. They're really good at shouting at the top of their lungs, and they're good at sticking to it. You know, like the Cloward and Piven strategy. That is a long-term strategy. That's not something that you can say, okay, we're going to get it done in 5 years. No, that is a 6-7 decade old strategy that they're still doing today. And you know what? Unfortunately, it's worked really well, right? And I believe that that's going to be the downfall of our nation, but we're going to have to pick up. We're going to have to pick back up. And I'm hoping that there's enough of us patriots that love this nation and what it stands for, that we're strong enough to pick up the right way once it falls. The U.S., ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, is going to fall. And this is why. Because what powers the engine of the United States of America, unfortunately, is fiat currency. Without it, we would not be in the position that we are in the world. And that fiat currency will go away. And once it goes away, there goes the power of the U.S. Yes, we'll still have our military. We'll still have all that kind of stuff. But ask me a question. How many of you have know people that are in the military? Ask them, will they work for free? Or will they work for a money that's worth nothing? Ask them and see what they tell you.
You know, I was thinking about what you were saying earlier, how, you know, it takes a while for things to happen. And it made me think of, I know you've discussed it. I've discussed it too, over the years that we've been on YouTube, is Yuri Bezmenov. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that name.
I'm not sure. I might know the story or the person, but I don't remember the name.
He was he defected.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. I did a video on that guy, the guy that told us the phases of how they turn you into a communist nation or a Marxist nation. Yeah, I know. Yeah, he defected. He was like a KGB or something like that.
Yeah, he was retired,
or a spy or something like that back in Russia.
Yeah, he was KGB. I think he was.
Yeah, and everything he said is true.
Yeah, yeah. It's when you really dig into it, that information, it's scary. It's scary to say that because it's actually happening in our faces today. And this was back in the 70s, was it?
Yes. He told us right off the bat exactly what steps we're going to be taking and what's happening, and everything he said has come to be and come to pass. You know, I'm surprised that we haven't had some kind of a kinetic conflict within the United States as of yet, but it's going to come eventually, unfortunately. So just make sure you're prepared. And I want you all to know, ladies and gentlemen, that when we talk about this stuff, we're not trying to scare anyone. And I believe that if you're prepared, then you're not going to be scared. But prepare the very best that you can. Okay. And that's all that you can do. But don't be living your life scared. Okay. Because that's not going to help you in one bit. You know, use that energy instead to get as prepared as you can. Do the best that you can. Get as many skills as you can. And that's all that you can do. But eventually, you know, the cycle tells us that this will happen. Take a look at the last video I put out. I think it was Sunday's video about a cycles analyst. All right. And he pretty much says what all the other cycle analysts are saying. And a lot of these people don't even know each other. I mean, look at Martin Armstrong, Charles Nenner, the guy that I talked about this last time. His name is Bo Polney. And he calls himself the analyst of time because he doesn't he doesn't look at the politics or the geopolitics of the world. He doesn't look at that to say, hey, this is going to happen. He just looks at a time chart. All right. And the time chart that he looks at is derived from the Bible. So there's different cycle analysts that don't even know about each other that come up with the same conclusion. They're just getting it in a different way. So, you know, in my opinion, the reason why they're getting the same things coming up is because human nature is very easy to whatchamacallit, to know what's coming to be. It's very easy to know what's going to happen because human nature never changes. It stays the same throughout time. It's just the times that change. So the things that happen will be a little bit different, but really in the grand scheme of things, they're really going to be the same.
Yeah, I saw, where was it at? Donna Clinton says, she said, yes, the 70s. I saw it during that time. And as a kid, then I'll never forget it. So people are familiar with that information. It's good to see that. And that's what I like seeing when I read through the comments. Skipping rocks. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's, some people may ask, like, sometimes, like, why do we discuss certain things like this? Because it affects us. It affects our economy, affects the U.S., and it could lead to the U.S. not being what it is today. And this is why we prep.
And, you know, some people don't believe in the replacement theory. Have you heard about that, the replacement theory?
Yes, I was reading about an article about that last week. Funny that you mentioned that. I'm always
how
looking
can you
up
not believe in it? It's happening right in front of our eyes. I mean, our right now, our birth rate in the United States of America is like 1.6, which means that we are at a huge deficit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at a huge deficit as a nation with our I'm sorry, man. It's this damn lag, man. This darn lag is getting to us.
It's all I was gonna say is that some people, I think it is that some people just don't want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? I just think people don't want to believe it.
Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and address this. What do you think about this, Gray?
I'm pretty sure every, doom and gloom channel is going to be talking about it, and it's the end of the world as you know it, kind of thing like that. I mean, it's a cycle, man. I'm more worried about, when I watch what this, I just watch more what the sun's doing. I stay in tune to that, with the material that I haven't read in front of me, just to kind of get an idea on what might happen. I'm just more concerned about coronal mass ejections and possible EMP situations versus, the eclipse is going to be a start of something, scary or whatnot, or something's going to happen on that day.
Right. So thank you, by the way, Tammy, for the super chat. And I'm going to go ahead and answer that the same way that I answer anything else related to this. And that is that when I look at something that's going to happen, about to happen, that's been projected to happen, etc., first thing I ask myself is there anything I can do about it? Is there anything I can do about this eclipse that's going to happen? Whatever the ramifications of it may be, whatever people may have some plans to do something bad during that day, whatever. Absolutely nothing I can do about it. So my second question is this: are you prepared? And I already know the answer to that. I am as prepared as I can be at this point. So whenever you hear, like, for example, someone asked me a while back, this was something that was being talked about all over social media. Putin wants Alaska back, right? Alaska was acquired from Russia illegally, whatever. What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. Is there anything I can do about Russia coming and trying to take Alaska back? I mean, yeah, I can pick up arms when the time comes, and we'll cross that bridge when it gets here. Absolutely. But right now there's nothing I can do. All I can do now is just continue to prepare. Is getting scared about that something that I can, that will benefit me? Absolutely not. Same when someone asked me, Russia has so many targets in Alaska with ICBMs. All right, what can I do about that? If an ICBM fell over our heads right now, I would have no problems at all. None. All right. I'd be upstairs looking down going, wow, that was awesome. I've never seen that happen before. All right. So, and what I'm trying to get at is if there's nothing you can do about something, the best thing that you can actually do is just to be prepared, stay prepared. Yes, stay informed because that's important. It's like a Suspicious Observer. It's one of the very first videos I watch every morning, Suspicious Observer. Why? Because he watches the sun. And whenever there is a coronal mass ejection coming towards the sun, it doesn't get here in 1 second. All right. A really, really strong one could get here in minutes, but usually it takes them about a day or so to get here. So if I get onto the Suspicious Observer's site in the morning YouTube channel, and he's like, yeah, we have a crazy CME, a X9, right? Let's say it's an X9, is the size, if not bigger, of the Carrington event that happened back in 1859. And it's going to be here in 16 hours. I'll be like, okay, thank you very much, Ben. I got to go get prepped and go ahead and tidy up things and make sure that we're going to be ready for that. You know, all right. So that's what I mean. Things that you can do something about, by all means, take action. But a lot of these things, there's nothing that you can do about it except to be prepared and stay prepared, because that's how you win. In the end, that is how you win, is by staying prepared. And of course, first and foremost, being prepared.
I mean, honestly, I couldn't have said it any better. And that's all that matters. Is I see the love affair with fear, and fear just does nothing for you, folks. I mean, it may keep you alive in certain situations, but watching fear over and over and over again on YouTube it's just, to me, it's unproductive. You should be focused on the things that you can control in your life, which is adding to your preps, make sure that you're prepared for certain situations, and just keep on moving forward, because whatever happens, it's going to happen. And as long as you're prepared to the best of your ability, it's, like I said, exactly what Rudy said.
And you know, Gray, man, what the heck was I going to say? I was going to say something smart too, and it just skipped my head. Hot doggity. That's terrible. Let's see. What channel tells about the sun? That's a suspicious observer. Suspicious observer. And you'll love his videos. You'll love his videos because they're like 3 or 4 minutes long.
He's real quick. It's like a little quick tidbit. He just lets you know what's going on. But they have some longer information in regards to the cycles and stuff like that Rudy discusses, and stuff like that. But he's just on it. I downloaded their app. I know some people don't like downloading anything to their phone, but their app, as soon as something happens, like instead of, if I missed the video, I get a notification on my phone. Hey, coronal mass ejection. This is what it's going to do. This is what it might affect. And it's just like an early warning alert system per se. And it's free. So yeah. I like that.
And, you know, I know what I was going to say, you know, when you're talking about fear cells and stuff like that. And it's true. And I can personally tell by the views that I get. Okay. If I do a prepping on the cheap video where I want to teach people that maybe are of a lower socioeconomic status to be able to prepare, even though they don't make a lot of money, they don't get a lot of views. But if I do a video about the sheriffs of the United States meeting with the FBI and DHS and the government telling them that there's going to be an attack within the United States that's going to be perpetrated by a lot of these illegal immigrants that came through our southern border, I do a video like that, I get a whole bunch of views. So it does sell. And I will say this, that sometimes, not all the times, I am guilty of putting a flashy thumbnail. But let me tell you why I do this, Gray. Why every once in a while I'll put a thumbnail that looks like it's the end of the world. It's because since fear does sell, I'm hoping to attract people to that video that have never come to my channel before, in hopes that they'll be like, man, this is not the end of the world, but, you know, maybe I should get a little bit prepared. That's why I do that, because if you don't get any new viewers, then you're really not spreading the message. And the message is that if our country is to survive what's coming, then the more people in the United States of America that are prepared, the better for us to survive as a nation. Remember that the reason why the Japanese did not want to invade the United States of America in the Second World War is because, you know what, Gray, they did invade the U.S. Did you know that? Japanese did invade the U.S. in the Second World War?
I mean, are you talking about Hawaii itself?
Well, no, not Hawaii. They actually did an invasion into some of the islands in Alaska. And there was actually ground combat in some of I think they're called the Illusion Islands in Alaska.
Oh,
there was
yes. Okay.
And they got drawn back. But I think and a lot of the ground combat was not by military. It was by people. Right. So the Japanese, this is said that it has been said by some kind of Japanese general. I don't know if it's true. I didn't see it anywhere, him saying it, but this is what I heard, is that they will never invade the United States of America on foot, because behind every blade of grass, there is a rifle. Right. So, you know, And take that for what it's worth, I guess.
No,
Get prepared. All right. Learn how to use a self-defense weapon.
Exactly. It's very, very true what you say, man. That's why I'm a boring channel, man. I just do like gardening stuff and, you know, food stuff and reviews and whatnot.
You know, oh, sorry. Well, you know, I like to talk about things on my channel that I like personally. So like one of the first things that I do in the morning when I wake up, I usually wake up pretty early. Today I slept in. I woke up like at 5 a.m. today. And that's
Nice.
rare for me. Yeah, that's rare for me to wake up that late. Usually I'm up 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. Well, what I do is, since I'm the only one up at that time, is I'll start looking through the news. I like looking through the news. It's something that I like to do. And when I find something that I like personally to talk about, guess what? I talk about it here. You know, I talk about it here. Why? Because I have fun doing that, right? So for those of you that are new here in the comments or in the chats, I usually do 2 news videos a week, on Wednesday and on Sunday. I just changed it up last week. So it's on Wednesday and Sundays now instead of Tuesday and Saturdays. And it's because I love going over the news and I like talking about it, right? And I don't have very many friends because I'm not very likable. All right, Gray? So thank you, Gray. So I like to talk about it, so I do it here. And obviously, I like to prepare. Tomorrow, I'm going to be putting out or maybe later on tonight. We'll see how that works out. But the next video that I'm putting out is going to be a video about preparing. And I like to do that. And why not talk about it? Why not get people to get prepared alongside of you? Like I said in the beginning, it's only going to benefit you and your country and your city, your state, your family, etc. So why not? It's a lot of fun. Love doing it. It's opened up a lot of opportunities. I've made a lot of new friends doing this way. So why stop something that's an awesome thing to do? And by the way, Gray, I'm not sure if you saw this video that I did a while back, but this guy started doing a little thinking. He was like, man, what does the commissary do with all those turkeys they didn't sell during Christmas? So I made a phone call and they were like, hey, we got like 60 turkeys left. So I went ahead and I already started. What is this, March? Well, in February, I already started getting the turkeys for the food bank for next year at a really good price.
Yeah, you can't. I think, what did you pay? 59, 69 cents a pound or something like that? That's a steal.
59 cents a pound, man. It's so much better than $2.99. Last year, I think I ended up buying about 40 or 50 turkeys at like $2.99 a pound, man. That just about killed me.
Oh, you got a hell of a deal there, man. And that's when you got to score those deals. When you find stuff like that, you know, you got to jump on top of that, you know? What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I was thinking about the turkeys. I've listened to you and my wife for probably, and my viewers, my core subscribers have told me over and over and again, and because I'm an overthinker, over and over again, they're just like, hey man, do what you do and have fun doing it, and that's all that matters. And I'm like, but sometimes I just get I think too much in this stuff. But I've been listening to you guys more often now.
Yeah, man, that's all that matters, because if not, why are you doing it? You know, most people in the US do something they hate every day, and that's called go to work. Most people go to jobs that they hate, that they don't want to be at. And if you have an opportunity to actually do something that you enjoy doing, oh my goodness, man, do it. You know, you only live once, at least in this physical earth at this time.
I saw that thing you put up by Dreams Acres. I really enjoyed doing the Sunday shift report. I had a lot of fun doing it, but YouTube did not like it at all. I was at risk of losing my channel and demonetization and this and that. It was over, and just fighting with them was, I just got tired of that. So that's the main reason I kind of stopped doing that. Matter of fact, to this day, they're still demonetizing those old videos that they're even in unlisted, and they're still sending me messages about those videos saying, oh, this video is demonetized, this video is this, and they're not even available for public viewing.
Yep. Same things happen to me, man. I'm thinking about going back to my really old videos and scrubbing a lot of them and just deleting them, because the way that YouTube works is, especially since we're going into the season where a president is going to have a contest with a contender, and we will see what happens. You see what I mean? Isn't that terrible that you have to talk like that? But one day we will be free to talk freely again, ladies and gentlemen. One day there won't be so many people with their feelings hurt just because you say something that they don't like. Anyways, yeah, I have a lot of videos that have been getting popped. The other day I was like, I got an email. I was like, what? I didn't even remember making that video. It was 2 years old. So what they'll do is, if you start, 2 years old, Gray, if you start spewing something that they don't like, they'll go back 2 or 3 years. They'll find 3 that they don't like and say, strike, 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 with no warning, you're done. And that's it.
Yep.
And I mean, I believe that that's eventually going to happen, you know, pretty much to anyone that's not towing the line. And when it happens, it happens. It is what it is. What are you going to do about it? You know, you can't give it all up. You know, I know that instead of saying C-19, I say health crisis, right? People understand what that means. Health crisis, we know what that meant, right? And stuff like that. And these are little things that we don't mind doing, because we know that if we use the real words that they don't want us to use, it's going to hurt our channel. And everyone already knows what it means anyways, you know? So it's not violating any kind of community guidelines. So it's no big deal, but we have to keep something, you know, just a little bit. And but eventually I believe that everyone will be gone that doesn't toe the line, and we'll have to see. Hopefully it won't be this year.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's like a lot of people that had that happen to them, you know, we put a lot of, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into the content that we do. Like, for example, the video that I mentioned earlier in when we first started about the giveaway stuff. And it's a 12-minute video that took me 2 days and probably multiple, I don't know how many hours I put into it, working on it. And I was telling Yarn Prepper, there's a clip in there of me sitting at a table, you know, with lanterns and stuff like that. And I said, it took me an hour to do that video for like a 12-second little B-roll clip. But I love what I do and I enjoy doing it. And I wanted to make it more heartfelt and intriguing. So hopefully that'll never happen. If it does, I guess it's just meant to be that, you know, that I don't get to do it no more.
Yeah. Some of those camping videos that I've done where I've been testing like tents and sleeping bags, man, it's hours and hours of footage for 20, 25 minutes. But the funny thing is that once I get behind the computer and I've downloaded all of the footage into my editing software, 6 hours later, I'll be like, whoa, what time is it? It's because I enjoy doing it. I actually enjoy the editing process. It takes a long time to do, and sometimes it can be very frustrating when your software crashes or something like that. I remember doing a couple of videos, editing them like all the way through, getting ready to save it, to render it, and it crashed. And those are like some heartbreaking moments when you spend 6 hours, you know, breaking down 5 or 6 hours worth of content in order to bring it down to 20 minutes. And then it crashes on you. Oh my goodness, man. But again, I enjoyed the process, but it doesn't feel good when you lose everything that you just worked for, even though you enjoy doing it.
I've been there myself, man. I've learned now when I do like a section and it gets very complicated, I'm like, save it. Yeah. It's just so much. It's a nightmare because you put so much time into it. And it can be devastating, all the work that you put into it and having to start from scratch. So I understand you, brother.
Man, check this out, man. Isn't this something right here? I was just talking to my brother about this here a while back. While you still see drug you know, Gray, that I think the second country is New Zealand, I think. But it's only one other country in the world besides the US where it's legal to advertise pharmaceuticals. Did you know that?
Really? I didn't know that. No. That's interesting.
There's 2 countries in the world where it's legal to advertise on TV pharmaceuticals, prescriptions. Let me see if I can look that up while you talk for a little bit.
Oh, in regards to the prescriptions? I mean, I can give my little spiel again in regards to the giveaway that I got going on while you're doing that or looking that up. Folks that are looking to win something from Nutrient Survival, if you go check out my last video that I posted, I think it's called Prepared and Resilient or something like that. You can't miss it. It's the last video. I'm doing a giveaway on that, and all you have to do is be subscribed, like, share, and all that fun stuff like that. It was a fun video to do. I really enjoyed doing it. I got to cook up some nutrient survival eggs on camera and show folks what the eggs look like. Because some
Nice.
people have never opened up the number 10 cans, so you know, you get to see that too, and how easy it is. So,
Yep, it's true. It is New Zealand. I just looked it up and I see
okay.
Michael here saying it is. But yeah, New Zealand and the United States of America are the only two countries where you can advertise on TV pharmaceuticals. The only two. Doesn't that tell you something? You know, what does that tell you, Gray? What does that tell you? What do you think about that?
I think it's almost like how I see with the big tobacco companies back in the day. Remember you can see everybody smoking in movies and smoking commercials and all that stuff like that. Most countries don't do that stuff like that. And big pharma has that enough power to push the political or lobbying power and money to push this stuff like that. And here's the craziest thing. I always joke around at where I work at. I'm like, big tobacco gets you, you know, when you're young and gets you strung out on, you know, smokes and whatnot. Nothing. This is nothing against people who do smoke. I'm just saying, and big pharma picks up on the other end when you have cancer and stuff like that to fill your body full of medicines and stuff like that. That most of the time just string you along. They don't really cure. What is that old saying, Rudy?
No, it's not a cure. Doctors are not there to cure. They're there to treat.
Thank you. Absolutely.
That's because it's true.
It's truly a shame, man.
You know what it tells me when I see that we are one of two countries that can advertise pharmaceuticals? It tells me that our elected officials have sold us out. They've sold us out to the highest bidder. And not only because of that, but because of this even more. Because even though the politicians have sold us out, there's even one bigger atrocity than allowing these pharmaceutical companies to lobby and to get all these commercials so that people can get hooked on their drugs. And that is that they're immune. Pharmaceutical companies are immune from prosecution. So anyone that has some kind of an injury from whatever kind of medication that they might have been made or coerced to take, if they win a settlement, it's not the companies that are paying it. It's we, the taxpayers. There is a trust that's funded by taxpayer dollars to pay people who win a settlement for an injury that they received by a product that is peddled by a pharmaceutical company.
You're absolutely right, man. And it's funny. I'm going to use the proper term, but during the health crisis and the push for, you know, the whatchamacallit, as far as I know, it's still under emergency use authorization. So no matter what happens with that, there's no one can do anything about
that. The only thing that people can do about it is say no. And that's that. Imagine if we would have all said no. You know, imagine that, Gray, if we would have all said no. But the thing is that the mainstream media, they did such a they call us fear mongers. You know, that's what I've asked a few people that have said, yeah, you're just fear mongering. You're calling me a fear monger? Have you seen what went on here in the last 3 or 4 years with the health crisis? Do you now think that they are a fear monger or that I'm a fear monger? Who's the bigger fear monger? You know, the legacy media, which led people that didn't want to do their research to believe that they weren't going to make it, that their grandparents weren't going to make it, that their kids weren't going to make it, which was the group of people, little kids were the group of people that would be less affected by this thing that happened, by the health crisis. But they were the most affected because of the things that they were made to do, like not go to school, like cover their face. You know how much microplastic goes into your lungs by covering your face with those masks for so many hours a day, how it hinders your breathing? Nobody wanted to talk about that then. Nobody wanted to talk about it when people here on social media were showing you the boxes of those face coverings that said on the box, this does not prevent anything. Nobody wanted to talk about it then, right? Why? Because they wanted their freaking stimulus checks, right? They wanted their little stimulus checks that we came on here and started screaming about this is going to make inflation go out of control. And is anybody talking about the stimulus checks now, how great it was to have them 2 years ago? Now that what it costs the average American per year to live with the inflated prices that we now have to pay forever is about what we received in total. In total, I think the average American received, I don't know, 3-6 grand, something like that. And now it takes about $11,000-$12,000 a year more just to live the same way you were living 4 years ago because of all of the money they printed. But nobody's talking about that now. Nobody that was for the stimulus checks is coming out now and saying, yeah, I know that it cost us, 3 times the amount of what we got in stimulus to live now for the rest of our lives is going to be that or more. But, we really needed it back then. No one's saying that. No one's saying anything about the juicy juice back then when now people are dropping dead all over. Why? Oh, it's just something new that's happening. It's called adult death syndrome or something like that. I don't know. Instant death syndrome or some crap like that. No one's talking about that now. None of the people that were saying, but we need to take this. None of them are coming out now and saying, yeah, this kid's heart blew up in the middle of the soccer field. He was 21 years old. But it's sudden death syndrome. Yeah, that's what it is. No one's talking about that crap now. You don't have all these people that were for it and now have parents or brothers or sisters or people that they know who have passed away for no reason whatsoever at the prime time of their life. They're not talking about it now. But they didn't want to listen back then.
I had family and other people that, were falling for it. And I never did, I don't like to joke about it too much, but I'm like, when they ask me, like, now that they realized what they were doing, and I'm like, see, I never took anything. I'm not the healthiest person in the world, but I'm still here. You know what I mean? And I'm like, so I felt that I prove a point, and I know everybody's different in their body and stuff like that, but regardless, I couldn't do it, man. After all the information that I did and dug into, just wasn't worth my life or the risk of something bad happening.
Here, Gray, is the biggest slap in the face. Now, I trust that what Forrest is saying is true. This is the biggest slap in the face because how many people lost their jobs? How many people lost their careers in the military? How many people lost their livelihoods? How many people lost their houses? And now they're saying the same freaking thing that we were saying back then. This is nothing but the common FLU.
And it's funny because you don't see all the legacy news media outlets, no one's talking about that. You know what I mean? It's just, I knew it was going to happen that way. They always push something in a news cycle. And then when it comes to find out that it's not valid or there's, missing information, they never cover that. They never go back to it and cover it. It's a shame.
And the thing is, too, is that I want to make sure that people understand this. All right. Anyone that actually went through with it and took it for whatever reason, listen, me personally, I can't speak about anyone else. Me personally, I understand. I understand why. Because you were scared. Okay? I understand. Not faulting anyone that did it. I know people that did. I know some people that, thank God, so far, they're okay. I know some people that, man, they're in a bad way. Okay? But the thing is that we, as the American people, and a lot of other countries in the Western world, we have been propagandized so badly for our entire lives that who do you trust when everything that you're told is a lie? And then when you come onto one of these sites here, that's social media, that's more free, that people can talk more freely about what they personally think without having to get it filtered by an editor at a mainstream or legacy media outlet. And you hear someone saying, this is crazy, this is that, this is this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Who are you going to trust if you've been propagandized by the mainstream media all your life? So I don't blame people for going through with that. A lot of people were in a position where, well, either I do it and I get to keep my job and a roof over my kids' heads, or I don't do it and we're homeless in a month and a half or two. I can't tell you what decision I would have made. It would have been a tough decision if that was the position I was in. But please learn. If you're one of those that were coerced into doing that, learn, ladies and gentlemen, learn who the true enemy is. And it's not us. It's not each other. There's one true enemy. And I'm going to say it. I don't care. That's government. All right. The true enemy is government, because government is nothing but exactly what George Washington said. Government is nothing but force. Do you know, I read this a long time ago. I don't know if it's true or not. You can correct me in the chats if I'm wrong. But I read that there was a law a long time ago that said that in order to be a senator or a congressman, you could not be a lawyer or a banker. And then they changed that law around to where then you could. And now you take a look at our Congress and Senate, and it's mostly lawyers and bankers. I mean, anyways, I don't even know why I said that, but I guess what I'm getting at is that you can't trust any of them, no matter how good they sound. You can't trust them, because the machine has a way of corrupting people once they get there.
It's funny. I've been watching the stream and watching the comments when you're talking sometimes to see what people are saying. And I didn't notice, if you noticed, that your internet got really good towards the end of this live stream.
Is it really good now?
Yeah, you're clear as a bell, man.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm getting good bars now.
Gotta love it.
Let's see.
Oh, boy, man. Oh, boy. And I'm trying to... And it's great to see, reading through the comments, there's always a lot of great information in there. And I'm glad folks feel that they say the things that they say. And there's a lot of people in the medical field that I knew that they were almost forced to get it. Some people got to use immunities, like religious immunity and stuff like that. But other folks, they just got fired or quit.
Gray, I got out of the Army at the perfect time.
Yeah, that you did.
I got out at the perfect time. I'm telling you, brother. I am so happy that I got out when I got out. I mean, like, it's like everything worked perfect. Looking back now, it's like if I would have waited a couple of years to get out, it would have been hell. But like the time that I got out, everything worked out perfectly. As far as me being able to get a job right after I got out, doing something that I was, pretty good at, and then being able to, pay off my debt. And then, some crazy idea came in my head when I was walking down my road during a winter back in, I think it was 2016. And I was like, you know what, let me start a YouTube channel. Let me make my first terrible video. And I did. And then, here we are today. Everything worked out perfect. So everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. You just, just stay prepared the best that you can. And, you'll make it through, ladies and gentlemen. You'll make it through.
It's made me think of what you're saying about the military's been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. I know it was, what was it? I can't remember when it was, but I know I just read an article not too long ago, and I think last year was like shrunk by 33,000. I think this year it's even more. Just people don't want to sign up.
What's that? I'm sorry, man. I was looking at the chat. Say what you said here for like the last 30 seconds.
The military's been shrinking year after year after all this stuff like that dramatically. It's probably some of the lowest it's been in quite some time. I think last year it was like 33,000. I think last year it was 33,000. Or shrinking somewhat around it. I know there's like almost 500,000 overall, but it's definitely shrinking a lot more than people think it is. People just don't want to sign up anymore. There's not many people that are very patriotic in the aspect, and plus they're worried of how things are changing, rules and regulations and stuff like that. It's not the same military or army that we were in when we got in. I mean, I went in 93. I think you were probably close to that, weren't you?
Yeah, a little before that, the first time around. Let me see. I'm looking. Go ahead and talk, man. I'm going to see this real quick.
Jules wrote, the military just cut 24,000 openings because they can't meet goals. And that goes to show it, folks.
I believe it.
Yeah. I'm looking in here to see if anything, God, family, and country. Roger that, Doc Holliday. I agree, Forrest. Hey, Seabass, good to see you.
Oh man, Gray, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but what the hell?
Uh-oh.
Now, let me get this out of here. You said that the military is having problem keeping up and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's see. But boom.
Did you find an article?
Yeah.
I know the Heritage Foundation does articles and stuff like that too.
All right.
There you go.
All right. So
Oh,
this is an Air Force colonel. This is an Air Force colonel. Air Force colonel. Now, do you think there may be a reason why the military can't recruit anyone anymore?
Mm.
Because we are now, and I don't care. It is what it is. We are an abomination, right? We are, unfortunately, I'm not going to say that we are an ungodly country, but there's a lot of people in this country that have turned ungodly. All right. Maybe that's why there's a problem with the military recruiting people, because there's probably more sane people than there are people that are not sane. Okay. So it is what it is, man. Rome fell. Okay. And the United States right now is following the same footsteps as Rome. I'm looking up at the camera and you're laughing, and I'm thinking of what the comments must be. I don't even want to look at them. I don't want to look at the comments.
Oh, they're great comments, man. People are awesome.
But yeah, man, Rome fell, and we're following the same path as Rome. And it is what it is, man. Like I said, there's nothing that anyone here can do about it. But when I take a look at that picture that I just showed you, listen, that might be a nice person. That may be a great person. I do not know that person personally. Great person. But the reason why the NFL drafts linemen that are 350 pounds, 6'5", and are full of muscle is because they can do what linemen need to do. And in my opinion, and it's not even opinion, it's fact, the military is in place for one reason, and that is to protect our nation against foreign invaders. I know that we have done with the military what they weren't supposed to be done with. You know what I mean? Like foreign intervention and stuff like that. We've done that. But the main reason so who are we going to recruit to protect the people of the United States? Are we going to protect the strongest and the smartest and the most stoic, like we used to see in commercials back in the 80s, be all you can be? Or are we going to protect those that our foes look at and freaking just fall out of their chairs laughing? Can you imagine how Russia, China, even Venezuela, which actually has a pretty strong army, could you imagine when they look at that stuff, how hard they must laugh? It's a disgrace, Gray. It's a disgrace. In the United States of America, we are free to do whatever the hell we want to do. Okay, we are free to be whatever the heck it is that you want to say you are. Go ahead, be it. I don't care. Be it. But when it comes to protecting our nation and to protecting our children, we should not allow these kinds of things to happen, because there's no such thing as equity on the freaking battlefield. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little riled up, but anyone here who's been in combat, tell me where there's room for equity in combat. I don't think there is. And if you haven't been in combat, let me give you a little secret. There's no room for equity in combat, right? When you go to combat, you leave your lipstick behind.
Not your pantyhose.
Oh no, of course not the pantyhose, man.
Real quick before we wrap this up, I had a lady in my shop the other day, and I can tell she was, left leaning and whatnot. And there was a couple of guys in there, and she had this conversation, and she was talking about, J6, and I can't believe if Orange Man Bad wins again, it's just going to be horrible and stuff like that. And I decided to say, I said, when she was talking about the attack on the Capitol and all, the way she presented, I said, hey, did you know that for almost a year straight, there was a group of folks attacking a federal court building that never got prosecuted, and kind of went into this whole spiel. And she was like, no, what are you talking about? I'm like, really? You've never seen that they were lighting fires and burning cities and doing all this? She's like, no. I said, hold on one second. And I pulled it up on YouTube. She was like, oh my gosh, that was happening. I'm like, yes. I said, see, that's the problem. You're only seeing one side of the story. Don't ever try to like say something if you're trying to push something or talk about something without knowing what encompasses the whole entire conversation. And I felt that I got through to her a little bit in regards to showing her some material and giving her a bit of education from my side of things. And she actually was like, oh, wow. And I said, this is why I hate when people always bring up specific topics and Orange Man bad, and this is why he's bad, and this and this and that. And they love to go back to the whole J6 thing. And then I even went into her and I said, you know how many times that the Capitol has actually been hit by organizations and groups? Way worse than that. And it kind of went into that spiel. And hopefully I got through a little bit to her. I don't know. But it was interesting.
I mean, keep trying. But what I've noticed that there's a group of people that you're never going to get through to. It doesn't matter how many facts you put in front of them. They're never going to listen. They're going to scream. The more facts that you put in front of their face, the more that they're going to scream. And that's all there's to it. And unfortunately, those people, if the bad side wins, ultimately, those are the first people that are going to go. But, we have to allow those people, no matter how much we disagree with them, we have to allow them to continue to have their freedom of speech, because that is what's going to convince the rest of the people how crazy they really are. Think about it. As soon as we shut these people down, if we shut them down where they can't spew their message, they're still going to keep working in the background. So we have to allow them to keep saying the things that they're saying so that people can understand, wow, these guys are crazy. They are crazy. And I watch some of these videos where when they're confronted in the streets and they're given facts, you know what they do? They just walk away. They just walk away. And it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We're going to get through this, for those that think that we're going to be going through one of the worst times in history. You are right. You are 100% right. I believe it. I believe that in the next 8 to 10 years, we're going to be going through some of the worst times in not only our recent history, but our history as far as the birth of this nation. We're going to be going through some of the worst times, but we're going to make it through it. So keep prepping, ladies and gentlemen. Don't stop. Don't be discouraged. Don't wish for something bad to happen just because you're prepared. Just continue to fill in the gaps and stay prepared and help whoever comes along that could use your help. Help them if you would like. And I guess that's the best that we can do. Hopefully we'll never have to use our preps.
Yeah, hopefully. Sorry, I get sidetracked by the comments. Something said something about the Supreme Court. I know the Supreme Court put a freeze on being arrest illegal immigrants or whatnot. I saw that happen. First, everybody was happy that another court overturned it and they could arrest illegal immigrants coming across the border. And then the Supreme Court stepped in and put a freeze on it for some reason. I got to do more research on that before I speak too much on it. But I didn't read anything on the J6 stuff yet. I'll probably look that up after we get off the live stream. So I appreciate you guys sharing that in the comments. But I don't know, man. We're at an hour and a half. What are you doing?
Wow. Well, man, I guess that's it. If you're done, then I'm done.
Oh, I'm out of coffee too, and water. See, look what you did, Rudy. I'm out of everything.
That's funny because I still have almost a full cup.
Oh, gotta love it. But we did get over everything that I had written down. I mean, we have one of these days we're just gonna have to dedicate a whole live stream to answering viewer comments. I still got like about 10 of them to go over.
Good.
Oh shoot. But,
yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I'm sure that many people will get a lot out of it just answering comments because, one question asked by one person is usually thought of by 100 or 200 people.
Absolutely. I agree. That's what kind of gave me the idea to want to answer some questions. I mean, someone got really, really upset that I haven't answered their question. No one I know. They were like, I've been asking this question and had.
What question is it? What question?
I don't even have it printed out because I can't find it. They said it was on your stream and my stream, and I'm like, I don't know what. I can't find your question.
Man, I wish I knew what question it was. We'd do it right now.
Yeah,
like we would do it right now. Are you here now? All right, hey, just a second, Gray. Is that person here right now the one that doesn't like that Gray or I haven't answered your question? If you are, put your question in all caps right now. 20 seconds. All right, we have a 20-second delay. I expect to see that question right now in all caps. 20 seconds. All right, let's see.
Let's see. Let's give it. We should
Well,
do
we're
like
waiting for that. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining in today and always helping us out with the chats. I'm talking to the moderators, of course. And our moderators are, I don't think I've ever done this. I don't think I've ever shouted out all of our moderators. Our moderators are starting with JT. Ladies and gentlemen, let me see those hands clapping for JT down in the comments. All right, JT. Our next one is going to be Jan Penland. Jan Penland. All right. I feel like I'm at a baseball game right here or a basketball game. Okay, I'm looking for our next one. Let me see where you got Jan. And coming to us from the UK, we've got Miss Worm or Copernicus. And where's our last moderator? The lady that makes these fluffy little things that you can buy off of her site, Yarn Prepper. Leave your link up so people can buy this stuff from you. I've been using this ever since I got it. Really awesome. And let's see. Wait a minute. We got to shout out Yarn Prepper. There's Yarn Prepper. Thank you very much, ladies, for always being here. You're very, very, very much appreciated. Let's see. Okay, I didn't see anyone leave a question. Did you see it?
I haven't seen nothing. I've been watching. I was just going to tell. I was going to tell Yarn to.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This dog is tearing up my sleep.
Uh-oh. The dog is doing something. Yarn, do me a favor. When you get a chance, is it your Instagram link or you have a specific Shopify link? Send it to me and I will add it to my future videos down in the description.
This girl is a troublemaker, is what she is. Look at it. Lulu, why are you such a troublemaker? Lulu, give me a kissy. Lulu, she doesn't want to. Lulu, give me a kissy. Hey, hey, give me a kissy.
Oh, you got a super chat.
All right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and see. What do we got? Lord Dragon. How you doing, Lord Dragon? Good to see you. I had an epiphany. It's about lithium-ion battery fires. A standard 12-volt has a BMS. What is BMS again? It's a something
battery management system.
Yeah, battery management system. BMS that fails at 50 volts. Oh, a nuclear EMP produces 50,000 volts. These batteries are Trojan horse remote bombs. Man. You know what? We just don't know. It could be Lord Dragon. Thank you, by the way, for the super chat. Yeah, it could be. We just don't know. I mean, we're gonna see what happens. I've been thinking about consolidating all of my solar generators into one building outside, and I've been doing an experiment all winter long. I got OUPES to send me a small solar generator, one of the Mighty Mouse, this guy right here, an extra one because I thought it'd be ruined. Go on. Oh yeah. I thought it would get ruined, but I've left it outside the entire winter. And I'm going to, and I've used it too on a couple of my little camping trips where I tested tents. I've used them in the winter, in the real cold, and I left it outside all winter long just to see if the battery will still be good and be able to charge at 100% after the winter's over. So once winter's over, I'm going to put it on a charger. I'll probably try to record it just so you all can see and hear about the experience. And if it works and it charges to 100% and I can use it all summer long, I'm going to build a small building where I'm going to consolidate all of my solar generators. That way they can be in that building. That way, if anything like that ever happens, then hopefully we'll be safe from any kind of fires. But yeah, good point. All right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and call it then. We're going to go ahead and call it. Let's see. Okay. Yes, go ahead and post your channels in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. And if my moderators sees that someone posted their link to their channel, I'll go ahead and approve their comment. All right. So that everyone can see it. I appreciate that a lot. Forrest says, now I
Yeah.
will be having nightmares about my battery. Don't be worrying about that, Forrest. You'll be all right. You'll be okay.
It'll be the 4th
All
of
right,
July
Gray, take it
now.
away, man.
Oh,
Take
me
it away
take it
before
away.
my dog pees inside.
Folks,
Just like,
I'm on the big screen again, folks. Folks, truly appreciate all you guys' support, hanging out with us for the time that you do. We really appreciate you supporting us on Monday nights. If you do have any comments or questions and stuff like that, put them down below this video or any video that me and Rudy do, be it my channel or his channel. And I try to come back to those and either write them down or print them out. We truly appreciate I'm trying to put a compilation of those things out but outside of that, folks, truly appreciate you guys taking the time. God bless every single one of you folks. God bless America. And remember, folks, you are not alone.
yes, you are the resistance. All right. God bless you all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. Have a great rest of your week. Be safe. I will see you all on Friday during our live stream at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Other than that, God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper, and this crazy guy over here, he's Gray. And we'll see you on the next time. Well, what is it? We'll see you on the rerun? What is it, Gray?
We'll catch you on the rebound.
We'll catch you on the rebound. Okay, here we go. Boom.